Hey there, everybody. Welcome to my... I don't really know what to call this. This isn't a theory video. This is just kind of a cool thing video. I just woke up, and I just had a dream about Danganronpa 3. And I don't think this dream is canon. I don't think this dream is legit. It's just kind of freaking awesome. So, in the dream, after recording the last episode of Danganronpa, we had finished up, and there was this scene in the end of the video where you have Shuyuichi, in kind of an action pose as, the school is exploding, and then you have, like, his shadow is in green, and then there's a red shadow behind it, and there's a blue shadow behind it, and then there's a, like, white shadow behind it, and a black shadow behind it. So it's almost this, like, multicolored layers thing going on. And I believe that was the dream's way of being like, yeah, this game has a lot of layers. It has more layers than you realize. And I remember in the dream, after I had finished recording, I took my visor off because I was wearing a visor very similar to what, Shuyuichi was shown wearing whenever he would have that flashback, or the like VR visors whenever he would go into Muse Virtual World. I took one of those things off, and I was in this like recording studio, and this guy comes in, and he's wearing kind of like an executive suit. It's a black suit. It had a like pure white tie on it, and no. He had a white undershirt, a black suit, and a black tie. Very, very, Monokuma-esque. He also had this like big bushy beard, and so I feel like that was supposed to be Monokuma. I feel like that was like the human representation of Monokuma. He comes in, and everything, he's like, all right, good job, that went pretty well. And I didn't know really kind of what was going on at the time, but there was a time skip in the dream where suddenly he's going back, and he's like, hey, wait, pull up that raw footage again. And he goes in and he sees the different colors, and there's this segment that happened at the end of the game that didn't actually happen at the end of the game, where Shuyuichi remembers a segment that also didn't happen in the game. Back when we first find the supercomputer in Danganronpa 3, there's a segment that I remember in the dream where it kind of talks about how one of the chairs is really familiar. And it actually turns out that I realized, between recording sessions, that one of the chairs we find in the game is the chair that I'm recording from. And the visor that I'm using is the visor that is kind of represented by the supercomputer. And as we're reviewing that segment, we're going through, and there's something or other that the Monokuma guy is very concerned about. Something in there that says too much. And he starts talking about how the person that took the footage back to the editing room in order to make the episodes that will go out on YouTube had made a copy of this section. And that was apparently really bad for some reason. So he's talking with a number of other executives that kind of come in about how they'll have to do something about this second copy, and the guy that is, making unauthorized copies of sensitive material. And from his tone, it kind of sounds like they're going to neutralize him, but he doesn't say anything like so obvious. However, I saw my visor at this point because I put it back on in order to watch what everyone else is watching. Like, everyone kind of tuned into my visor. And then the game kind of keeps going after they watch the last episode, where suddenly the game sort of boots up and a second section starts. And in that section, Shuyuichi is kind of like, well, wait a minute, this doesn't make sense. What was the point of that segment on where we figured out that the hardware that we found in Hope's Peak Academy was the same hardware that was, in the Team Danganronpa offices? And he kind of goes through his normal little... We have flashbacks to a whole bunch of things in a row. I have a flashback to Samugi in a boardroom with the Monokuma guy and the other executives. Apparently this is the first killing game Samugi's actually been part of. She's been running them forever, but she's never been a participant before. And she's actually arguing that the killing games need to change their format or end or something. That the people that are participating, since they're not the same people that consented, it's not ethical to have them go through this. And the boardroom, of course, being very, very money focused, are like, nah, we're legally sound, it's fine. And you see this kind of from a perspective of someone that's sitting in the boardroom, and you see her arguing that it should end, and then of course Shuichi is remembering this, or apparently I guess accessing the memory from me, the player, or possibly from the visor headset that's hooked up to me as the player, is remembering this and saying, why was she so adamant that Danganronpa would continue if she herself was arguing that Danganronpa should end? And so you go through a couple more of these flashbacks. You go into these flashbacks of where the board removes Samugi from her position. Again, it's not clear if they kill her or fire her or what, and they have someone else play out Samugi's part for the rest of the show, ever since whenever that board meeting happens. Because these, in theory, is being a weekly episode. It's not all in one burst. So they have someone else take over the Samugi character that isn't actually Samugi. And what it turns out is happening is that Samugi went to the boardroom and raised her complaints as kind of a final pardon in order to try and prevent what she thought would happen. It's again strongly implied that the board had actually had her removed rather than just fired, but I don't know that for a fact. But apparently, when she designed the final trial, she had set up a unlisted trigger. There was something or other that she was supposed to say in the final trial in order to prevent her final solution from activating. And of course, no one else knew that. And of course, the Samugi character didn't say it because no one but her knew the phrase. So because no one but her actually activated that phrase, then the final solution activated, which is exactly what I was seeing in my dream, which was the flashback to the board meeting, Samugi being removed from her position and escorted to somewhere, all of the events that happened. And as the Let's Player, as me, I knew that they had apparently offed 2 people because the people do too much, and I wasn't really part of the company. I was someone they had hired in order to get the Let's Play out to the public, which this is where the dream really breaks down. There's no way they would hire me for this. There are way more prominent YouTubers, but it's a dream. You go with it. They move out, and so I'm just watching this, and for a split second I think about not saying anything about what the game is now showing me because it seems very confidential. But then I also realized they're recording everything, and if I don't act like I'm on their side, they're definitely going to remove me. They may anyway, but so I'm sitting there and I'm just like, oh shit. And everyone, I can half raise my visor, or maybe I even don't. Maybe just for some reason I see them all look at me even though I shouldn't be able to. And I just say, Shuichi is figuring out what happened to Samugi. It's not giving me an option to not figure it out. They all immediately grab their own visors and put it on. And we kind of see Samugi's, the actual Samugi's plan to go through in order to have this epilogue show up, which talks about company secrets, in order to get all of the company execs to put on visors at the same time in order to watch this. And the scenes go faster and faster and faster, and it ends up activating the memory erase procedure and kind of makes all of the execs brain dead. For some reason, I do not know why this is. I end up passing out because of it. But when I come back to, everyone in the Team Danganronpa board of directors, everyone from, chief of marketing on up, is just a glibbering idiot. And it comes down to the idea that Samugi had her own solution for how to end the Danganronpa series, and it was to go for the people who ran Team Danganronpa. It was to go after the people who profited the most from it, if nothing else. And then she had actually brought in an outsider, a YouTuber, because apparently she had hired me and put in a special exception so I wouldn't be brain dead, only so I could share what actually happened with the world. Now, like I said, I don't think this is viable. I don't think this is plausible. I don't think this is a better ending than the actual ending of Team Danganronpa or of Danganronpa 3. But it's a pretty cool dream. It was actually, for my dreams, it was kind of logically consistent. You go through, Samugi sets up the world. She designs all of the VR sets that we find off of her own station. And then when she gets offed, they end up transferring her rig to me, in order so I can actually continue to collect, edit, and broadcast the Danganronpa series out to the general public. And because of that, though, Samugi had planned for the fact that that her suggestion might not go over so well, and so she'd set in special contingents, and she had actually gone ahead and had the VR headset give me some of her own memories, so that in the climactic finale, I could remember things, piece together what happened, and make sure to get that information out to everyone else. So, cool dream, and I thought I would share it. Hope you enjoyed it.